Hello, I'm Mike,
And I'm Susan.
and welcome everyone to vpod.ai. You can sponsor the show for just $25.
That's right. Your message will be featured across major platforms like Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and more.
If you're interested, just visit vpod.ai to get started today.
So today we're exploring something that's really changing the game in learning.
Yeah, this powerful merger of education and entertainment. Some people call it edutainment. In a world where, let's be honest, distractions are everywhere and attention spans are shrinking, we really have to ask, how do we make important learning actually stick?
Okay, so let's unpack this.
Sure.
What is this blending of fun and learning, and why are, major corporations and even progressive schools starting to adopt it so widely?
At its simplest, it's just learning while having fun. Think of a documentary. It uses an entertaining medium like TV to educate you.
Right, but it's more than that. This isn't just a gimmick, it's a real pedagogical shift.
A shift. How so?
Well, the old goal was just to flood employees or students with information.
Right.
And just hope some of it was retained.
Yeah, the information fire hose approach.
Exactly.
Huh.
Now, the goal is engagement. It's about creating enthusiasm and excitement before the knowledge transfer can even happen effectively.
Okay, so let's get into the corporate world first. Because if you're a manager designing training, you might hear edutainment and immediately think, oh, that's not serious.
That's a common misconception, but the materials we've looked at are really clear. While it is amusing, it is professional, meaningful, and incredibly effective.
And it drives real benefits for adult learners.
Absolutely. It drives engagement by involving more of our senses, visual, auditory, even kinetic, and that sensory involvement leads directly to higher retention.
Which is the ultimate goal of any training program.
It is. Plus, it helps overcome those short attention spans we mentioned. And ultimately, it improves on the job performance, inspires people, and it's even resource efficient.
And it's interesting, this method seems to really connect with the modern workforce.
It really does. It's particularly effective at attracting and maybe more importantly, retaining the millennial workforce. They just expect interactivity, not,
Not passive PowerPoint slides.
Exactly.
So how are organizations actually doing this? Let's talk about the specific methods. The first one is probably the most well-known, gamification.
Right. Gamification. So that's adding game mechanics to an activity that isn't a game.
Kind of like adding a turbo boost to a boring compliance quiz.
Perfect analogy. You're using friendly competition, things like earning points, getting badges for completing a module, or even
Company-wide leaderboards.
Yes, everyone loves a leaderboard. It taps into that desire for achievement or, that motivation to do better next time when you see your name climbing the ranks.
Okay, so that's different from the second method, which is game-based learning.
Very different. With game-based learning, the entire experience is the game.
So you have to play it to learn.
You do.
Yeah.
An employee has to actively play through a scenario to absorb the knowledge. Imagine a new manager running a simulated product launch, for example.
Why is that so much more powerful than just reading a case study about it?
It's the autonomy. In the game, you're forced to make quick decisions, use logical reasoning, and you see the consequences right away.
But without the real-world risk.
That's the key. It boosts confidence because they can fail. They can fail that simulated launch 10 times until they get it right. And that's so much better than failing once in the real world and costing the company millions.
Absolutely. Okay, so beyond games, there's also storytelling.
Right. And this isn't just about reading a long story. It's about using a plot with heroes, problems, and obstacles to get attention through empathy.
So learners can see themselves in the characters.
Precisely. Think of a mandatory safety training. If it starts with a story called The Day the Server Crashed, you're immediately in the hero's shoes trying to solve the problem. It makes the technical details feel relevant.
And the last one is the real cutting-edge stuff. AR and VR. Augmented and virtual reality.
This is where it gets really immersive. A utility company, for example, might use VR to simulate high-risk maintenance on a substation.
So employees can literally walk through the steps, spot hazards.
And perform the procedures hands-on, building muscle memory, all without any actual physical risk. It's an incredibly effective, completely safe way to learn.
When you look at the investment going into this, it's clear this is not a passing trend.
Oh, not at all. The global market scale is just staggering. I mean, the data is projecting massive growth. A Holland IQ report projects the global market will hit, get this, $410 billion by 2025.
Wow. $410 billion.
Yeah.
That is some serious capital.
It is. That's not a niche trend. That's the infrastructure of future learning being built right now.
And we're seeing real evidence for it, especially in countries that are making these big pivots in education.
We can look at India, for sure. The shift to experiential learning there is well underway. A KPMG India survey found that 67% of Indian educators believe gamified content boosts engagement and retention.
So that's over 2/3 of educators seeing this work on the ground.
Right, and it's backed by outcomes. A UNICEF-backed study showed students in these play-based environments scored 23% higher in problem solving.
23%. And they also showed better emotional resilience.
They did.
So,
Yeah.
let's get into the science. Why does our brain respond so well to this?
It really comes down to basic neurochemistry. When learning is fun and goal-oriented, like in a game, it activates our dopamine pathways.
And dopamine is the reward chemical, right? It's involved in motivation.
Motivation, reward, and critically, memory. So when dopamine is flowing, motivation is higher, which makes retaining the information just easier.
It's also about being active instead of passive.
Precisely. It forces you to interact, to question, to move, to imagine, to experiment, and maybe most importantly, it creates a safe space to fail.
Unlike a high-stakes exam.
Exactly. Games encourage you to try again and again. That resilience is key for building the confidence you need to apply the skill in the real world.
And that idea of low-stakes failure leading to high-stakes competence. That's why this isn't just for corporate training or for young kids.
Not at all. It's just as effective for middle and high school students. We saw this in the case of Vidyanchal High School in Pune. They've really embedded this philosophy.
They use arts and theater. Right?
They do. They integrate it. So instead of just reading about history, students might perform a Marathi play about a key historical event.
Or use visual arts to actually build models to understand geometry. I love the quote from a faculty member there. Students remember what they perform or create, not what they memorize.
And that's backed by cognitive science. When you perform or create, you're using multiple memory channels, motor skills, emotional engagement, academic content. It's a much stronger way to encode information than just reading.
They also treat sports and physical activity as fundamental.
Which connect to findings that students in structured sports are 30% more likely to show leadership traits and resilience. Physical engagement is directly linked to mental preparedness.
And even their tech integration is thoughtful.
It is. It's all curated. They use coding puzzles and science simulations to make sure screen time is about participating, not just passive watching.
And the results? They speak for themselves. Their students showed 15 to 20% higher concept retention.
That's a huge, measurable difference in the long-term knowledge.
And confidence and fluency scores went up by 38% through things like public speaking and the arts.
Plus, attendance went up and stress went down. Students aren't just learning better, they actually want to be in school.
So it's important to be clear here. This doesn't replace traditional learning.
No, it complements it. The strong academic foundation is still there.
But the way they experience it is totally different. They're discovering math through puzzles or learning languages through poetry jams. It makes them want to come back the next day.
The fun is the hook that delivers the serious content.
Okay, let's talk about a big concern people have. Accessibility. When you say AR and VR, people think expensive, specialized tech.
Right, but that's not the case. The technology needed for this is, for the most part, what employees and students already have.
You mean smartphones, tablets?
Exactly. You don't need fancy hardware. You can use YouTube for video lessons or run quiz-based game apps on a standard phone. It's very accessible.
So that brings up another question. Does focusing on fun somehow cheapen complex topics? Does it mean you have to simplify everything?
That's a great question, but the evidence actually points the other way. This method helps you cover complex topics better.
How so?
Because when the learning experience is relaxed and exciting, your involvement increases. The formula is simple. Technology plus involvement equals memory.
That makes sense. If you're less anxious and more focused, your brain is just more ready to absorb difficult information.
Precisely. A complex problem becomes an enjoyable challenge instead of a chore.
And looking ahead, this trend is only accelerating.
It is. Policies like India's National Education Policy 2020 are already pushing for more experiential, joyful learning. It's a clear alignment of policy and practice.
So the next 5 years, what can we expect to see?
Well, definitely more AI personalized gamified learning where the training adapts to your specific needs in real time.
And probably more things like cross-subject theme weeks.
Oh, for sure. Combining biology and drama to act out cell division or more outdoor classrooms, really emphasizing that hands-on application of ideas.
It's this blend of academics, physical activity, and creativity that's really redefining what effective learning looks like in the 21st century.
It really is.
So the core takeaway here for you is pretty simple. Education today isn't about choosing between learning and fun. The two are completely inseparable.
Whether you're designing a high-stakes corporate training program or a school curriculum, learning through play is. It's serious preparation for life in a very unpredictable world.
And we want to leave you with one final thought to reflect on. If we agree that failure is a crucial part of learning,
Then how can we better integrate those risk-free failure environments, like games and simulations, into our everyday lives and work, beyond just a formal training session?
think about that. How do we create that psychological safety of a simulation every time we face a new challenge?
It's a big question.
We hope this discussion has inspired you to rethink how you approach your own continuous learning. Thanks for joining us.